poll showing Sinn Féin topping the poll at 26%. So we wanted to talk to Gerry Adams this morning because also there was issues last week about Claire Daly's bill, that they abstained on it. Do they favour repealing the 8th Amendment? And if Sinn Féin do find themselves in government, under what terms? And will Gerry Adams, as he did with Martin McGuinness up north, opt out himself? Or will you have Gerry Adams as Taoiseach or Taoiseach? All these issues were in the melting pot. So I spoke to Gerry a few moments ago, but I began by asking him about the latest initiative about a number of trade unions in the Right to Water campaign who have asked for a coalition of the left. This comes after his call for SIP2 to do something similar. And therefore, I began by asking him what would he like to see emerging between politicians and trade unions to form a coalition of the left.
Well, I actually think it's wider than politics or political groups and trade unions. I've been arguing for a citizens' charter, and that's why I very much welcome what's been called a platform for renewal, which will be revealed, I think, on May Day by the 5 youth who are affiliated to the Right to Water campaign. And I think it needs to be wider. It needs to involve rural Ireland. It needs to involve women's organisations. It needs to involve those who are in the voluntary sector and the community sector. And it's about a platform or a series of principles or broad points that can be agreed upon that would govern how we would like to see society develop in the upcoming period.
OK, there was a poll over the weekend, Sinn Féin topping the poll at 26%. This opens up options for government for you. What is the Sinn Féin strategy for the next election in relation to government formation?
Well, first of all, we need to get the largest mandate possible. That's an obvious thing to say, but it's nonetheless crucial. The size of our mandate, if we're given a mandate, will determine what influence we would have in forming a government, will determine what strength we would have to negotiate a programme for government, and may also actually influence the size of the other parties involved. So I have tended to focus on that phase, Ivan. I think we could endlessly speculate about who would be in government with who, but that's the second phase. The first phase gets the largest mandate possible for core, genuine Republican values, anti-austerity, pro-United Ireland, pro-public services, pro-rural Ireland, and then after that, a matter, if it's possible, of business-like negotiation with others who may be minded to go into an anti-austerity government. OK, and
let's go with that. In terms of your targets for the next election, 25% of the vote would give you a quarter of the seats, 160 seats, that's 40. Fianna Fáil are targeting 40 seats. You have 40 constituencies. You must be planning, you did very well getting 3 MEPs elected. What for you is the target number of seats in the next election?
Well, I've never, ever in any election given out a figure of what we are targeting. We're obviously fighting every single seat to win. We're still a party which is developing, as those who are trying to form new parties will have realised. And as you will know from your own experience, it's a very hard thing to develop capacity, to develop structures, to get funds, to get creditable candidates and other activists. So that's a process which we have been very successful on in recent times. You quite rightly signal the success. We got 4 MEPs elected across this island. So we will contest, I believe, or at least our ambition is to contest every single constituency, and we will fight every one of those elections to get our folks elected to the Dáil.
OK, well, I think we'll agree you won't get 80 seats, so you've got to go into government potentially with someone else. Who is your preferred partner, or would you consider, in terms of replacing this government, going in with Sinn Féin, going in with Fianna Fáil?
Well, we certainly won't go in, and this is as much as I want to say on this issue, if you don't mind, Ivan. We certainly won't go in with anyone as a junior partner. We won't go in and do what Labour infamously did, where they moved seamlessly from seeking a mandate to doing the exact opposite of what they were mandated to became juniors to a bigger Conservative party. We won't do that. We have a national project. We will not undermine that by doing anything which would increase the difficulties which working people and small business people and rural dwellers experience, or indeed which would increase the sense of alienation that some people feel given the system of auction politics which has evolved over the decades here, and which infamously Fine Gael and Labour were part of.
Well, let's go with that. One of the big mistakes, of course, Labour made were the promises it made before the last election. You are promising to repeal water charges and local property tax. As you move closer to government with more success and market share, do you think you might not make Labour's mistake and not repeat that by toning down your promises?
Well, any promise we make, we keep, and we won't make any promises that we can't keep. I have said to our own people, and I've been doing a series of town hall meetings, and obviously people lobbying on their own given issue, and given the extent of inequality which now exists, people are very anxious to have their issues dealt with. We can't do all of that. We certainly can't do it on our own. It can't be done overnight. That's why this notion of a charter or a platform for renewal is so attractive, that rather than just, I suppose, designate politics to the People's Day, which is the election day, what the Right to Water campaign has shown is that a lot of people have become radicalised and politicised and are standing up. So let's get as much agreement around the broad concepts between all of the players, between all of those folks, and this is particularly actually important as we approach the centenary of the 1916 rising, because what the proclamation, which is as yet unfulfilled, is about, it's about a citizen-centred, rights-based society. So let's put our best foot forward. Let's get as many people as are prepared to vote for Sinn Féin.
Okay,
in the meantime, develop ideas which reflect a vision for a different Ireland, for a real republic.
Just some short yes or no questions. In the North, when you went into government, you opted out yourself. Martin McGuinness took on the leadership role as Deputy First Minister. If Sinn Féin go into government, Gerry Adams as Taoiseach Taoiseach, is that something on your horizon, yes or no?
Well, the party will decide that. It was I who nominated Martin for the job of First Minister, Deputy First Minister, because I thought he could do a better job than me, and also because my focus is and continues to be building Sinn Féin and trying to use the party to alleviate the difficulties which people face. So,
the question was, would you see yourself as Taoiseach or Taoiseach?
Well, that's not an issue which is on my radar at the moment. I'm still in first phase, get the biggest mandate possible, and then let's deal with the rest. I'm not going to write the type of headline which Labour foolishly wrote for Eamon Gilmore in the last election. Let the people have their day, let the people decide who's going to lead them in the government, and if Sinn Féin is among that, then we will look at all of those issues. Now,
controversy in the Dáil last week, Claire Daly's bill on fatal fetal abnormalities. The question of the Eighth Amendment of the Constitution, where Sinn Féin's abstained on the vote last week. Do you favour repealing the Eighth Amendment to the Constitution?
Yes.
In what way?
It has no place. We've had a long-standing position that these very serious matters should be legislated for, and that the Eighth Amendment, as it's called, was a very, very inappropriate way and has caused unnecessary suffering to people, particularly women.
Finally, we started by speaking about unity of the left. Joe Higgins said last week that Sinn Féin wasn't a left-wing party at all. How do you respond to that?
Well, Joe does say these things. Joe is a person who is almost too nationalist in his view. He is famously part of what James Connolly used to refer to as a gas and water works socialist.
Indeed. That was Gerry Adams, the president of Sinn Féin. What I took out of that is that they wouldn't go into government as a junior partner, so therefore they have to be the largest part of any party, maybe looking to put smaller left-wing groups or whatever together. That's his terms for coalition. Now, up next at 8:24 in NewsTalk Breakfast, we'll have, as always on a Monday morning, Phil Tomo Thompson. He's, I think, fallen in love with Balotelli. That's up next.
NewsTalk Breakfast in association with Aircom Business Solutions, bringing you unlimited business mobile calls and texts even when you roam in the UK, Europe and USA.
Well, our lucky man has seen